Hello, hi, Jason here from TGN. Alright, so today we are having the Synology unboxing of the RS1619xs Plus. Alright, so what we have here is this is the motherboard of the 1619xs Plus. Alright, so these are the two slots where we will plug in the NVMe. Alright, so in this case we have two 500GB from Samsung NVMe M.2. Okay. Other than that, there's also the add-on card which we will be adding on. Okay, over here. So I have to, of course, remove this. Okay. By removing this, I'll pick up the bracket first. Okay, so I'm going to put it one side. Okay. So the idea is also to install the NVMe first before we put in the card. Okay. All right. So the screws are actually provided for the NVMe. Okay, so we've got to open up the NVMe in order to slot them in. Okay, so this is my second time actually doing this. Okay, so now, let me open them up and see what's inside and what I have to show you. Okay, so this is the packaging from Samsung, right? So it's very well, nice and packed. Okay, let me open up the second one. Okay, so as usual, remember to make sure that you are not having any static on your body. Alright, or else you're going to spoil the card itself. Okay, let me remove the cover. Okay, the cover is gone. Okay, let me put this all one side so as not to damage anything else. Okay. So as usual, remove them from the container. Okay, slide them in. Take a look at the teeth. Okay, so you have your gap here, and then there's a gap here on the motherboard. Okay, what you gotta do is just slide them in. You'll hear a sound. You'll tick. Okay. Similarly for the next one, same thing. Okay, make sure the teeth are correct. Slide them in. So once they are in, okay, prepare the screws. Okay, so you need two screws. You actually provided 3 screws from Synology. Okay, so just keep one of the spares, and let me see where's my screw. Okay, so this is my screwdriver. Okay, let me make sure I screw them in. Okay, so gently screw and hold the NVMe. Okay, similarly do the same for the second one. Okay. So you can do it like so. Okay. Do remember, try not to touch any other components in the motherboard or the rack storage itself. Okay, once that's done, remove them out of your way. And the next card I'm going to put in is the 10G E1021 F2. Okay, so once that's in, all you have to do is just slide in the plastic cover. Okay, right, make sure they're all aligned. Okay, and that's it, they're done. All right, so over here, let me show it to you again. What I've done is I've actually installed two 500GB Samsung NVMe M.2. all right, and slide it in, screw them in, make sure they don't touch anything else. Okay, and at the same time I make sure that the card is also in and the black color bracket holding on to the card is also in. Okay, other than that, once that's done, all you have to do is just put back the cover, okay, like so, slide it in. Okay, so there are 4 screws. Remember to screw them back in. Okay, once you screw them back in, then you are done, and you can power up the unit after you have done installing the hard drives. Okay, make sure the screws are tightened. All right, put all 4 of them in. Okay, the most important one I think is the one in the middle. Okay, so make sure that the one in the middle is properly screwed in. Okay, all right. After all 4 of them are in, usually what I'll do is I'll make sure and double check to make sure that they are all tight. All right. Okay, because once they are on the racks, you won't be seeing them for a couple of years. Okay. So now, if we were to flip it apart to the back, you will see that there are 2 slots. Okay, so these are the 2 fiber slots. Okay, So these are 210Gs and these are the 41Gs. Okay, so these are the PSU. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look into is to install the hard drives. Okay, so now installing the hard drives will require additional screws. Okay, which we will do them like so. Okay, let me put this aside. Okay, let me get the drives for you, but before that, let me prepare the screws. Okay, so all in all, for each drive, you're going to need 4 screws. Okay, so we're going to set them apart. See, to make sure they are there. Okay, so from Synology itself, they actually give you 5 sets of screws. Okay, so there will be actually spares. All right. So what you can do is just put them aside so that you may use them down the road. Okay, let me get the drives. Okay, I'll be back. Alright, so these are the drives. Okay, so for today's demonstration, we'll be using, not demonstration, actually these are going live. Alright, so these are the new Synology 8TB drives. Okay, now what are the advantages of using Synology drives? First and foremost, we know that they are qualified, alright, they are verified, and the fact that they are definitely filled with Synology firmware inside, that it works together with the DSM. So if there are any updates to the firmware for the hard drives, what your DSM is going to do is your DSM is going to automatically update the firmware for you. Okay, it's not like if you're going to be using any other brands, or be it that you know that this is OEM from one of the large Japanese brands. Okay, what they're doing is the firmware is not going to be the same. Okay, so this is optimized, okay, specifically for Synology to be used in Synology. Okay, all right, so there and there. And the next thing is, if you have any problem, all right, go back to where you purchased the Synology drives from. All right, so a single point of contact, single point of interaction, and at the same time, if there are any issues for Synology support to assist you, all right, they can even access all the way down to the drives to make sure that the drives has no issues and no problems. Okay, so while I'm screwing them in, okay, make sure the holes are correct. Okay, so there are 4 holes for every drives. Okay, now other than the 8 TBs, all right, so from Synology itself, they have 8, 12, and 16 so far. Okay, other than hard drives, they have also the SSDs. All right, so for SSDs, they also have the standard SATAs, right, which is 2.5 inch, and you can have them from 500 GB onwards all the way up to 3.8 terabytes. Okay, so the first one is done. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to slot them in. Okay, to make sure there are no issues. Okay, the catch is in. I'm going to proceed to the next one. I'm going to tear them up and I'm going to open it. Okay. Now, I will say that for a while, just hang on to the packaging in case you have any issues with the drives, so you can use them back and send it back to your point of purchase. Okay. So always remember, you can always get your drives from your local distributors. All right, they are definitely available right now worldwide, and you can get them from any of your distributors. All right, so in some countries there are more than one distributor for Synology. You can definitely just inquire with them which of them have stocks. Okay, so it's all the same. Now, as usual, for the 2021 models for RS, the 3621s, remember, they definitely have to be used with the Synology drives for anything above 8 terabytes. Okay, so anything above 8 terabytes, still remember, you definitely have to use the Synology drives. Okay, you can't skip away from it, because what's going to happen if you're not using any Synology drives, okay, the DSM storage manager is going to show up as an incompatible drive being used. Okay, do take note of that. Okay, let's move on to my third drive. So right now I'm into my third drive, as we can see. Okay, and you can see that I'm still hanging on to the packaging. Alright, these are just the empty teddy bags. Okay, these are very, very useful. Okay, make sure the holes are aligned. As you can see, I'm actually holding on both of them equally. Okay, so I'm going to screw them in as usual. Okay, some of you may have the habit to actually screw them diagonally across. Okay. Some of you not, just go through 1, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. Honestly speaking, to me, I think they are about the same, except that when you're screwing in, make sure your torque, okay, your power of screwing in don't destroy any of the threads. Okay, As usual, just be gentle to make sure that the lines of the threads are in place and make sure they're all flushed. Okay, so as when you're sliding in, there are no issues. Hold on to the catch. Okay, so I'm now to my last drive. Okay, as you can see, I've been doing this pretty often. Okay, so I've been selling Synology for the longest time. I would say right now almost a decade. And so far, I have never ever met any major issues with all the units that I have since for the longest time. Okay, and I've been very grateful with the units that I have, and they have not failed me. Of course, over the years, I have upgraded and changed from the very first one, which I have was a DS212, okay, and then follow up to a 213 plus, and so on and so forth, to a 214. And then I jump from 214 to a 216, and from 216 to a 218 and stuff like that. Okay, so 718, 720, and also 920, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is my last unit. As I slide them in, okay, make sure all of them are aligned and flushed. Okay, the unit now will be very heavy. Okay, so be very careful when you're lifting it up. Okay, so other than that, keep a lookout for our video. We will have more videos coming soon. All right, so what's going to happen is I'm going to power up the unit and log in and see if I can run it up and leave it running to install the DSM. All right, thank you very much.